If you could choose the gender of your baby, would you do it? Hey, Kathy Bernardo here from the Northeast Assisted Fertility Group. Now with IVF and pre-genetic testing of embryos, and even with sperm sorting, which is actually done for agricultural reasons, but now we can do it with humans, people are able to choose the sex of their baby when they use ART, assisted reproductive technology. But the question is it ethical? Just because we can, does that mean we should? Well, the ASRM, the American Society for Reproductive Medicine, has an ethical paper, which I'll link down below, in 2015. And they take no stand. They say, we have no position. Some people may see it as ethical, some may see it as unethical, but it's up to the clinic to write its own policies. And I have found most clinics are open to sex selection. And the ASRM lays out some of the reasons why it should be okay, and then some of the reasons why we may have reservations about gender selection. So basically, it should be okay because, it's a matter of privacy, it's a matter of reproductive freedom, and there may be some positive aspects toward family balancing. Let's say you have, 3 boys already, and you want to go for a girl. There may be an ethical reason to do that. It's not that you think girls are better than boys, it's just that you already have 3 boys already, something like that. Then there are some reasons against it. Some are like, well, they may favor one gender over the other. If you think about what happened to the one-child policies in China that created balanced, way more boys than girls because of the infanticide that goes on. But we have found in the United States, and even anecdotally, when they're going for a certain gender, I find not one gender is favored over the other, and even statistically that hasn't been found. That if they have a lot of boys, they want a girl. If they have a lot of girls, they want a boy. And it's not like boys are favored, although people do think generally that boys will be favored. The other thing is it may, for those who have these preconceived ideas about gender, it may instill some gender bias, and I think that really is kind of going on imagination. Let's say you really want a girl because you want to dress her up in pink and all that, and that will instill some crazy gender indoctrination in her. I don't know. This is what some psychologists think. It could be damaging. That, again, I think is based more on just theory rather than practice. Another thing is, you don't want to mess medically with embryos too much. So if PGS isn't necessary, they don't want you kind of poking in, taking cells and testing them if this doesn't have a medical reason. There are medical reasons, for example, to select a gender. For example, if there's a genetic disease that is favored by one sex, like hemophilia, and hemophiliacs are more likely to be boys, and you want to choose a girl for that reason. But if you have no reason to genetically test the embryos, by going in and testing them for this non-medical kind of general preference, there is a risk of harm, and clinicians discourage you from doing that. And then there is the slippery slope theory. That is, if we choose for gender, then what's next? Do we choose for blue eyes? Do we choose for brown eyes? Do we choose for tall? And all these other things. Again, this is really imagination, projection, all kinds of science fiction things that don't really happen in real life. This is not likely. That people just really, really want a healthy baby, and the most compelling reason for sex selection, in my experience, is just family balancing, and it's not because they're out to create some superhuman. It just doesn't happen. And one last thing is that if people are busy rushing to IVF clinics to create gender selection and do all this extra non-medical work, it's going to shut out people who really need fertility treatment. Again, it isn't happening. There's plenty of resources for everyone. There aren't waiting lists shutting people out for medical reasons. If you need fertility treatment, you'll be able to get it. You'll be able to get an appointment, and you won't be, waiting a year because a lot of people are going for non-medical reasons to choose the gender of their baby. It just doesn't happen. I guess it's theoretically possible, and it's like the slippery slope argument, but it's not a practical reason not to do it. So in general, I'm finding in reading these pros and cons, most people who are okay with IVF would be okay with gender selection. And most people who don't even like the whole idea of IVF probably don't like the idea of gender selection as well. In my experience, almost all clinics, except for one I can think of, just don't do gender, will do gender selection for non-medical reasons. Most doctors are open to it. So it's a pretty accessible option for most people doing IVF. So what do you think? Do you think people should have the option to select the gender of their babies if that option is open to them? Please write that in the comments below. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and go to assistedfertility.com for more information on egg donation and surrogacy. Thanks so much for watching.